offspring. Sex determination, that is the gender determination, whether the given offspring is a male or a female, that is to be decided by a method, and that phenomenon is known as sex determination. The organism which is going to develop from that zygote, the newly fertilized ovum, that is the zygote, whether it is going to develop into a male offspring or a female offspring, that characteristic is, that phenomenon is known as sex determination. So the phenomenon of the development of the sex of the offspring, that is considered to be sex determination. Now, the sex determination is the base of the sex determination in animals. That is, the different species of animals utilize different methods in their sex determination. Not always that due to this particular condition, the male offspring will be produced. Due to another given situation, female offspring will be produced. That depends on what kind of species we are going to discuss about. In certain animals, sex determination is dependent on wonderful thing, that is the environmental factor, like say temperature. That means, for example, the eggs of the turtle at higher temperature, maybe in summer season, that develops into female. But in the same given situation, the eggs of the crocodile will develop into a male. So, that is wonderful, isn't it? Depending upon the season wise, that means depending upon the temperature. But in human beings, sex determination occurs through the sex chromosomes and the genes which are located on those sex chromosomes. As an exceptional case, animals such as certain animals like say snail, certain kind of snail, they can even change the sex. That is, at the time of formation of zygote, that is one of the gender. But when it becomes an adult, that means a complete individual is formed, then it remains as another individual, another gender. That is also a wonderful thing that we have in our nature. In nature, the sex determination is not a genetic phenomenon. But when we consider the sex determination in human beings, and before we move on to this particular answer, I would like to discuss a little bit. I would like to waste 1 minute, just 1 minute, to explain it to you, that at the end of this answer you would understand that the sex of the offspring is decided by the natural factors. But if anybody is to be considered as responsible, in fact nobody is responsible, neither the father nor the mother, but if anybody is to be considered responsible for the gender of the child, then it is the father. Unlike so many communities, they believe that it is the mother who is responsible for giving birth to a particular gender of the child. So now let us move on to the answer of this, and you try to think and understand rationally and try to avoid the mistakes that our forefathers or else the past generations have done, these kind of mistakes in understanding. So the sex determination in case of human beings, that occurs by genes on the chromosomes, which are inherited obviously from the parent gamete into the cell of the offspring. Each living human cell contains 23 pairs of chromosomes. That means they contain 46 chromosomes. The first 22 pairs of the chromosomes are similar. Either you consider male or you consider the female. The first 22 pairs, that is the 44 chromosomes, are similar in both male also and in female also. And they are called as autosomes. But the 23rd pair, that is the last pair, or the last two chromosomes, they are different in case of male and in case of female. And these chromosomes decide the gender of the child, and that is why they are called as sex chromosomes. Female cell has got two sex chromosomes equal in size and shape. And therefore, both of these chromosomes are called as X chromosomes. But in case of male, they have two different types of chromosomes. One of the chromosomes, one of the sex chromosomes, the last paired chromosome, one of the chromosomes, the last paired, is very much similar to that of the female chromosome. That is why it is called as an X chromosome. Whereas the other sex chromosome, the second chromosome of the given pair, is slightly smaller as compared to the first one, which is called as the Y chromosome. The female sex chromosome complex would be obviously X and X. whereas that of the male sex chromosomal complex would be X and Y. Now, all the eggs which are produced in female, that means the ova which are there in the ovary of the female, when they get mature, all of them are going to have the same chromosomal complex, that is 22 autosomes and 1 X chromosomes, that is XX chromosomes. Whereas in case of a male sperm cell, which is produced, that contains 22 autosomes and 1 X sex chromosome in 50% of the sperms, whereas 22 autosomes and 1 Y sex chromosome in the remaining 50% of the sperms. So when a sperm containing X fertilizes an egg will contain obviously X. So the zygote is going to contain XX. So the 23rd pair of that embryo, of that zygote, and the embryo that is going to develop from that zygote will be having 23rd pair as XX. So obviously that is going to be a girl child. When a sperm containing Y chromosome fertilizes an egg, then the zygote contains XY as the 23rd pair. And so obviously the embryo is going to develop having the chromosomal complex of 22 autosomes and XY chromosome. So obviously that is going to be a baby boy child. So when an embryo develops from the zygote, gonads are only in an undifferentiated state. At that time, the gonads are undifferentiated state. But if there is a presence of Y sex chromosome in the zygote, then the gonads develop and differentiate into testes. So for a male in human being, obviously the presence of Y sex chromosome is essential. So if anybody has to be considered to be responsible for the gender of the child, it is the father who is responsible, not the mother. So do not blame any of the lady for giving birth to a particular gender of the child. In fact, that all lies in the hands of the nature. Let us try to understand this thing with the help of a figure. Supposing from the father's side and from the mother's side, and the father will be containing the sex chromosomal complex of X and Y, 50% of the sperms with X chromosomes, 50% of the sperms with Y chromosome. But in case of the ovum or the ova of the female, that is the mother side, both of them are, all of them are going to contain X and X chromosome only. Now supposing the X sperm combines with the X ovum of the mother, X sperm of the father combines with X ovum of the mother, then the resulting zygote is going to be obviously having complex of X and X set. That is going to give rise to a daughter, that is a girl child. Supposing the X chromosome combines with another X ovum of mother, then also the result is going to be the same, that is X and X. So obviously the resulting embryo is going to develop into a girl child. But if Y chromosome of father combines with X of ovum containing X obviously, then that is going to give rise to a complex XY giving rise to a baby boy. And same way Y combining with another X, say all the different possible combinations we have taken, then also it is going to give rise to X and Y. So in any of the cases, if we try to understand according to the figure which is given in the textbook, then from father, if X combines with any of the ova of the female, that is mother, then it is going to give rise to a complex of XX, XX, that is 50% chances of female. Whereas Y sperm cell combining with X chromosome or X ova, then that is going to give rise to XY, XY, that means 50% chances of male child. So if anybody is to be considered to be responsible, that is the father is responsible, not the mother.